So in this box here, we've got a large number of small items which are postal related. And I just wanted to take a closer look at some of the fascinating objects in there, which date right back to the turn of the century and in some cases fairly modern, but already disappeared. Tax discs no longer issued by the post office. So these are now historic items. Let's just move that one out of the way as we go through. This is a lovely object, isn't it? Look at that. Royal Mail pad of postcards with a 1960s postie on there and what is clearly a Morris Z van. And inside you've got post office approved size postcards. Look at that. The stationery part of the business actually made them quite a bit of money during the 1960s, and there was quite a lot of it. So here's one we did earlier. This is gummed labels, so that you could stick them over and on your parcels. Reuse an old envelope or stick it onto the brown paper if you were wrapping a parcel up. You can see it matches what's going on there. The design was later modified with a rather cheery postie on. Still the same thing inside though. And then they weren't the only people doing it. Of course, anyone could produce gummed labels. This one actually comes with a sheet of blotting paper as well, so that if you're using a fountain pen, you can blot the label, which is that pink bit there, with blotting paper, look. We've got Mura, also producing luggage labels. We've got Top Value postcards, 45 for a shilling. All in the same size, of course, all post office recommended size. We've got wrappers for newspapers, so that you could send a newspaper. We've also got, by the same manufacturer, postcards again. And some of the more famous ones. Lion Brand, a John Dickinson product, made in Norwich. Look at that. And Lion Brand velvet laid writing pad. Lined. 7pence halfpenny crossed out. 6pence originally. Another nice one here from the 60s, Bond Street linen. I remember my mum using this stuff. And finally, the actual GPO one that matches the design of the ones we had over here. This is the actual fine laid, suitable for all pens. This is the actual writing set. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Envelopes and note paper, all with the classic illustrations and that rather wonderful 1960s typeface. They even produced boxed sets of luxury envelopes. Look at that. With the little dog trying to post his letter. Isn't that fantastic? So that's some of the postal stationery we've got. Actually, that's not really the right term. Postal stationery to collectors is stuff which is prepaid, ready to send through the post. But it is stationery and it is for postal use. Let's have a look at this item. This is quite nice, isn't it? Post Office Savings Bank Calendar 1933 and blotter. Advertising blotters we covered in one of the previous videos. They were very, very popular in the 1930s because everyone was using dip pens and the ink went everywhere. So having a blotter was quite a useful thing to have on your desk. And clearly advertising and promotion using the other side of the blotter was very popular. So that's a POSB one from 1933. While we're on the subject of savings banks, we've got two items here. This will be familiar to many, many people. The Post Office Savings Bank passbook, which actually recorded all of your transactions. So here it's all written out by hand. We've got October the 8th, £3 deposited into the account and then stamped on here. Must be that one, which is hard to read actually. Let's read one of the others, it's a bit easier. Norton Bridge in Staffordshire. So all the way through, and there's a few empty pages at the end. This one would have been, the money was taken out, £12 on demand, and the account was closed. You could buy individual stamps, national savings stamps, and put them into a book like this, and then when the page was full, that would be transferred into your Post Office Savings Bank account. And these were available in different denominations. Normally 2 shillings, but I can certainly remember them being sixpence back in the 1960s. Now, what else have we got in here? These are quite lovely, aren't they? Look at this. Souvenir from Gibraltar, 1926 and 1920. These are very, very scarce. Most of what you will find with embroidered greetings cards like this are from the First World War. They were very, very popular. Sent home from the front, made in France and Belgium. A lot of them were stitched by hand, but many of them later, especially the scalloped edge ones like this, were made on machines. Bonne fête, so happy celebration really. We've got the lucky horseshoe on that one. What does it say on the back? August 1931 that was sent, so that's quite a late use. These later non-First World War ones are actually more sought after than the wartime ones. But here we've got the wartime allies with the flags of some long-gone countries, which have changed over the years. Got a date on that one? Yeah, 11th of February 1916. Votre ami sincère et dévoté. Your sincere and devoted friend. There we go. And that was sent to a London address, Bow Road, London East. So those are the embroidered cards. Now we've got some other stuff in here as well. These are early post-paid impressions on some beautifully handwritten notes, for want of a better word. I think they're actually commercial invoices. Yeah, Savings Bank Department, General Post Office. So this is a receipt for a larger deposit, which £5, which has been sent back and paid directly at the Kensington office of the Post Office Savings Bank, so it's got no stamps on it. Beautiful handwriting. We've got a number of those. Just remove them out of the way. We've got lots of POSB stuff in here. This one is the Postmaster General has been notified of the receipt on the 15th of May 1937 of the sum of £351, 4 shillings and sixpence by cheque for the credit of the above described account in the books of this department. That's a lot of money. You could buy a house for £350. So you got a proper receipt from the bank for that one. Now, the other way that you could handle money through the post office, of course, and still can, is to use a postal order. And this one is a replica. It seems to have got a bit damp, actually. We have got real ones of the 4 shilling postal order, which you might have got for your birthday in the 1960s. Counterfoil here. You either wrote your name on here and paid it into your post office savings bank, or you could get it cashed, or if you crossed it, you could pay it into a bank account. Still going strong today. Now, underneath that, another nice bit of paperwork. Overseas telegraphs. Send your reply via Imperial, and this one's dated 1967. So an overseas telegram has arrived. It's to Burnley General Hospital, and it would have been enclosed in this envelope for delivery. That's most of the paperwork. We then get onto some of the more interesting hardware. We've got a couple of small signs in here from post boxes, which are worth taking a closer look at. This is one we covered in one of the previous videos. This notice plate was attached to any private posting box which was emptied by the Royal Mail. It says, "This is a private posting box. Letters and packets posted in it will be treated in all respects as postal packets, but proof of such posting will not be accepted in legal proceedings as evidence of receipt by the addressee by order of the Post Office." Now, the earlier ones say Postmaster General. This one, which is in the melamine, this had a trade name and I can't remember what it is now. It's etched melamine. Just says by order of the Post Office. The original enamel ones say by order of the Postmaster General. The other one that was in there is enamel. Lovely little sign, this. For times of collection, see notice in office window. So that would have gone on to a Ludlow or Carpenter style post box fixed into the wall of a sub post office. basically not carrying a time plate, but telling you to have a look in the window where the notice would have been telling you what time the box was going to be emptied. Now, we've got a couple of counsellors in here. This one is Midtown Midshire, so that's a training one. This is how you cancel off your stamps, and if we push it in and twist it, it should, unless it's really, really stick. There we go. Come away. And that's how you can change the dates. First job of the day, change the dates and put it in the impression book. The impression book records that the date stamps were set correctly each day. That one is a bit stiff, might need a bit of WD-40 on that. Let's try the other one. Yeah, it's really... There we go. It's locked in now. You're getting on. Next to it is not exactly a canceller, but something for making an impression into sealing wax. So this is for sealing the registered bags. It's got the name of the office on it and the crown. You melt the wax, and when it's wet, you drop some of it onto the string or the wire normally that is closing the neck of the bag, and then you impress into it the name of the sending office with this device. I'm sure you've spotted these in the background. This is a part coil of pre-decimal Machin stamps. This is the 1968 multi-value coil. Penny, fourpenny, 2 tuppennies and a threepenny. 5 stamps which add up to a shilling. So you put a shilling in the machine and you've got a strip of 5 stamps out. Still widely available on eBay. Incredible. This is a nice little item. Bought at the post office, but not actually for them. Issued by the Royal Mint. British Empire Exhibition Keepsake Medal #2 in bronze, with a rather nice design on it. I don't know if the camera's going to be able to see that really. It's a sort of Art Deco design of industry, and on the other side, Britannia. Available at the exhibition at Wembley during 1924 and 1925. Not money, but number tags. These are postbox number tags. A set of 4 there for 737. Box 7. That's a very high number. It must have been a big city. Box 737. It would have had 3 or 4 keys. Each key would have a number tag added to it like that, so that you could keep track of them in the key cabinet. This is an interesting thing as well. What on the face of it looks like a regular tape measure, but actually is an inland parcel post measure. So GPO, of course, so that you can measure your parcels up to a maximum of 3 foot and 6 inches in length. And on the other side, we've got a more detailed scale going right up. I think it's 70 inches. Let's have a... Yeah, right up to 72. There we go, 72 inches. Look at that. So this is an official tape measure for measuring post office parcels. Isn't that wonderful? The box of delights. We have lots of interesting things in here. Rather boring looking pen until you turn it over and you see that actually it's got an embossed logo for the Post Office Tower in London. So that would have been available in the tower, in the shop, when it was open to the public. Books of stamps. We just open one. We've got a 10p book of stamps there with 7 and 2 1s. 7p was the second class rate, and you could make it up to first class with the pennies. Your rate information is all at the back here. 7.5p to send it to Zone B, so you'd need the half-p stamps. And the post office vary the designs of the stamp books, so that you get whole sets of these things. This is an interesting little item. Self-inking stamp pad. There we go. It would have had ink on it, so that you could stamp onto it. Wouldn't have been used by in the actual post office, but it's quite a nice little bit of stationery. Can't get the lid back on now. There we go. These are one of my favourite items. Let's just bring that over. These are actually both the same. Post Office Savings Bank. What these are home safes. How to use the home safe. This is how you would have got it in a box like this. Just slide it out. You can see it's basically the same. There was a choice of red, green or blue. And basically what happens with these is that you insert your saved money, your coins, or your, if you're really lucky, 10-shilling note rolled up in there, and it's locked. It's a safe. Nobody can get into it. You don't have the key. Only the post office has the key. So a child can save their pocket money in here, or their birthday money, take that to the post office, who will open it with a special key, and again pay that into their post office savings bank account. So that way they can't whittle away and waste their pocket money. Now, I actually had one of these, and what I found was that if you put a knife in here, you could actually get the coins out if you were really clever. There was a 2-shilling deposit on them as well, which is why a lot of them have survived with their original boxes. The deal being that if you returned it at the end of the period in which you were saving, you could get your 2 shillings back. Now we've got a couple of nice big heavy signs here which are off stamp vending machines. Halfpenny stamps, 2 for a penny, 1 for a halfpenny. And then next to it, await delivery of stamp before inserting a further coin. Both off of mechanically operated stamp vending machines, as we saw in one of the earlier videos. This thing here, printed backwards, Jesus is alive. Well, he very well may be, but he doesn't know how to use this, clearly. This is a cancelling slogan insert for a universal cancelling machine. So this is a rotary canceller, letters pass in front of it and it spins round, and this would print on to the face of your letter the slogan, Jesus is alive. Normally used for advertising. Clearly at some point a church has paid to have that made. Next to it is a bag closure, Kingston-on-Thames, number 66. These devices are there to cramp onto the top of the bag before it goes off to make sure it's properly sealed. And to use it, you need a special device which is in the other shed called a set of plonkers, which closes those things together with a big plonk. Now, 2 other little objects we've got in here from the 1930s and 50s. This is a machine-ruled cover for book of stamps. So it actually says stamps on it. When we open it, it's designed to take a standard book like that. It's also spring-loaded. It's beautifully machine-ruled, very Art Deco. So I reckon that's pre-war, probably about 1935-36. The later one is made of leather. It's actually got the wrong size booklet in it. Should put a bigger one in there, shouldn't really. And that's very much homemade with the picture of the post box on it. It's hand-stitched leather, but again, clearly designed to hold a stamp book. Got another Post Office Tower pen, this time in red. National Gyro Bank, which took over a lot of the functions of the Post Office Savings Bank when it became National Savings. Gyro Bank was formed. This is a book of matches in the good old days when they were a good way of promoting things. Gyro Bank was formed to basically enable government payments to be made from their own bank, gyro being the Greek word for round. The idea was that the money would go round and round so that people who were receiving money from the government would get it from a gyro bank check, and then it would come back to the government as tax and other payments. So it was eventually sold. It was privatised by Mrs. Thatcher and sold to Alliance and Leicester Building Society, and who remembers them? It has unfortunately perished along with a lot of our other heritage. Got a couple of stamps in here. That one is registered, and this one has lots of different things you can make it say. It's quite a good one, this. It says service, PO rules, cash on delivery, too late for first. There's all sorts of stuff on that one. It's a 1940s one. Unfortunately, it's rubber. It's very, very fragile. If you try and move it, you can see it cracking. So unfortunately, that's display and only, and not really for use. Finally, in the case, a few objects over on the left there. This is a beautiful object which I found fairly recently from the International Air Post exhibition in London in 1934. This is a medal which was awarded to one of the exhibitors, James looks like McHadden on the back there, who obviously had a display in the exhibition and was awarded a gold medal for it. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece with some significant philatelic interest and value. And then over here we've got some tablets from Postbox. The interesting one, of course, is this one with the two holes in it. That's designed so that you can use the two pins on the end of an old key to hoik it out of the postbox. They stopped putting the pins on the keys in the 50s, and so later ones don't have them. The not in use and out of orders here, which have got these weird fittings on the back, these are designed to fit into stamp vending machines if their stamps have run out. Little oil can there, GPO oil can, probably for a mechanism rather than a bicycle because there's not enough oil in it. And then finally, in the good old days when the GPO ran the telephone service, marked GPO on the top of this Bakelite container, this is rather wonderful. What is that? When you take it out, you get all these discs, and they're all different colours. Look at that. We've got a mustard yellow, a grey, a dark green, a black, sort of muddy brown, fawn, red, teal, and a sort of olive green. This is so that you can select the colour of your British Telecom or Post Office Telephones phone, your 700 series plastic phone from the 1970s. These were the standard colours it was available in. So you'd have gone to a telephone shop, would you believe, and you could then choose the colour that you wanted for your phone. And that's an original sample pack. Isn't that wonderful? So that's a selection of the small objects in the collection. I hope you found that interesting. This is one of the things we take out to country fairs and to schools and show them some of the objects in the collection. There's all sorts of other bits and pieces lying around here. There's a lot of promotional material. I mean, here's a promotional letter opener from Telecom. We've got promotional, I think that's probably, paper clips. But there's also a lot of genuine equipment used by the post office, which you can see here.